What's going on, everyone? So it appears San Antonio Spurs are likely going to land Kevin Durant. That Kevin Durant is kind of getting more and more traction. We even got reports that, per Sam Amico, that Kevin Durant actually prefers the San Antonio Spurs. So want to be clear there, right? That I believe the Spurs are going to end up trading for Kevin Durant, that they're going to land Kevin Durant, and then you're going to have Kevin Durant, De'Aaron Fox, and Victor Wembanyama. Excited for that and excited for the Spurs, right? But in case they don't get Kevin Durant, the other option was Giannis Antetokounmpo. Well, Giannis Antetokounmpo appears to be off the market, and one, there are reports that the Spurs don't want to pony up what they'd have to pony up to get Kevin Durant, or to get Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? That trading Stephon Castle, trading the number 2 pick, basically trading all their young core in order to go get Giannis Antetokounmpo and have this shorter championship window. And then once Giannis leaves and retires, now, again, according to the reports, the potential of Victor Wembanyama looking around and going like, who do I have for the future? Which I think is entirely silly. I think it's ridiculous, right? If you have any type of championship window, you seize it, right? But nonetheless, per the reports, that the San Antonio Spurs have the reluctancies on a potential Giannis trade. The other thing about the Giannis trade, though, is it appears like it's non-existent, right? Giannis, based on reports, per Brian Windhorst, has yet to request a trade. On top of Giannis, yet to request a trade, Milwaukee Bucks are basically turning everybody away and saying like, hey, we're not fielding any offers. We're not taking any offers. We're not looking to trade Giannis Antetokounmpo because they're not going to trade Giannis unless Giannis wants out. If Giannis does go, hey, get me out of here, then they'll oblige him. Outside of that, they're not trading Giannis Antetokounmpo. So it appears like it's Kevin Durant or bust, right? If you don't get Kevin Durant, then you're kind of staying the course because Giannis might not become available. However, there is another guy that is linked to the San Antonio Spurs, and there are multiple reports that say kind of keep an eye on this player going to the San Antonio Spurs, and that is Jaylen Brown, right? There have been several reports of like, hey, just to let you know, Jaylen Brown could be an option for the Spurs. I believe that they will trade for Kevin Durant before they trade for Jaylen Brown. Now, again, you never know, right? If, Kevin Durant ends up falling through and goes to Houston or something like that, and it's like, well, now we don't have Giannis, then yes, I do think that a Jaylen Brown potential trade could make some more sense if they're able to pull that off, right? Boston is already shopping Drew Holiday. Boston is looking to kind of, they're probably going to have a gap year. They're going to unload some of these guys, right? They could potentially trade Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum is likely going to miss all of next season. So, they're kind of in this like, this sort of gap year, right? So there's a lot of talks about them maybe potentially trading Jaylen Brown. Here's the problem with trading for Jaylen Brown, or at least in my opinion, is his contract, right? This is a guy that's going to make $53 million this year, coming up, $57 million, $61 million, and then almost $65 million. Now, I understand he's a champion. I understand he's won a finals MVP, but he's a very flawed player. And, for the Celtics at $65 million, sure, right? Because that's their guy. For the Spurs, I don't really like it that much, right? Now, Jaylen Brown is 28 years old, so he's on the right side of 30, right? But it's like, which is also something, by the way, I think is a little silly. Just kind of a little side note. So, like, there are reports that they don't want to trade for Giannis because of age, but they'd be willing to trade for Jaylen Brown. But Jaylen Brown's only 2 years younger than Giannis? He'll be 29 by the start of the next season, right? So he's a year younger than Giannis. I think that's silly. And what you'd have to trade and pony up for Jaylen Brown is not as much as Giannis, but it's probably more than Kevin Durant. And so you're probably trading the number 2 pick to go get him, or you're trading Stephon Castle to go get him. I just think that's a little silly. Now, also, the idea of getting Brown and Kevin Durant is probably very unlikely because you'd have to trade $110 million just for those that might be like, well, what if you get both, right? Just clarify that. But point is I wouldn't mind if all else fails, I wouldn't mind Jaylen Brown, right? If the Spurs traded for Jaylen Brown, I'd be stoked, right? Solves your forward position. I still think you need to kind of fill your 4 spot, but solves your forward position. You'd be excellent defensively with De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Victor Wembanyama, and adding Jaylen Brown. I mean, the defense would be stout, right? Jaylen Brown is a guy who go get you buckets, right? He's a guy that can, but he's best in the isolation, where, so is De'Aaron Fox, right? So is Stephon Castle, Victor Wembanyama. You need to get him involved. Kevin Durant, to me, the reason I like the idea of Kevin Durant so much is his fit is seamless, right? Like, he doesn't need the ball in his hands to be ultra effective. He's one of the few guys in the league that is scarier off ball than he is on ball, right? Yes, you can at any point, like, hey, we're struggling to generate offense here, KD, and KD could just go get you a bucket, right? But he's not reliant on that. Where Jaylen Brown, if he's not on ball, he kind of, fades away at times, right? And the style in which the Celtics play is Jaylen Brown going to be able to kind of shake that off, right? Because if you're the Spurs, I don't want to see the Spurs play the way that the Celtics play, right? I want you to use your strengths, right? Operate in the mid-range. It's where De'Aaron Fox, and if you get a Kevin Durant, would operate, right? But if you get a Jaylen Brown, you take 10-3, do all that. I prefer you not. But again, Jaylen Brown would be excellent. Talking about an all-star player, legit two-way guy, right? Guy that could be that star alongside De'Aaron Fox. It kind of fits that timeline, him and Wemby, right? As Jaylen Brown starts his decline, Wemby should be ascending. So all of that, right? So there is a version of that where that makes sense. To me, it's really what do you have to give up in order to acquire Jaylen Brown? Again, if it's Stephon Castle, the number 2 pick, Devin Vassell and Harrison Barnes, then, hey, good luck to you, keep him. But if it's like, I don't think you'd be able to get Jaylen Brown without trading the number 2 or Stephon Castle. But if you traded the number 2 pick to go get, a Jaylen Brown, more proven guy, sure. But again, then you might as well just go trade for Giannis if Giannis becomes available, right? At least that's kind of my thoughts and opinions. But anyway, what does Jaylen Brown bring? What does he provide? Well, you look at this past season, 63 games played, 63 games started, 34.3 minutes per game, 17.7 field goal attempts per game, shot 46.3%, which is actually one of his worst. It's like his second worst field goal percentage of his career. The worst was his rookie season at 45.4%. But 3-point percentage, get terrible at 32.4%, but he is a career 36% guy on 5.3 attempts. So was last year just kind of like a down year? Was it a bad year? Where if you look at the previous year on 5.9 attempts, he shot 35.4%. He has had a season, 2020-2021 season, where he shot 40% on 6.5 attempts. So if you could get closer to that, that would be great. But 2-point range, 52.9% on 12.1 attempts, which again is down pretty significantly. You look at the last 2 years, previous to this year, it was 57% and 57.6%. So again, was this just a down year, just a bad year? EFG of 51.5%, which again is the lowest since his rookie season. Also, free throw shooting 76.4%, where he is a career 73% guy, so good there. Rebounding, just a hair under 6 rebounds per game. He is a career 5.3, so 5.8 is above that. Assists 4.5, 1.5 steals, half a block, and 22.3 points, which again is the lowest in the last 5 years for him. So again, was this just a, down year? Was just kind of one of those seasons that was just a little unproductive for him? Or is this kind of like, hey, like this is, might be who he is going forward? Definitely some questions, but let me know your thoughts and opinions. As always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.